Maybe you're just getting started training, or maybe you've been training and working out for quite some time. Well, it turns out there's definitely different levels of training. So, today's episode on the Meehan Mission podcast, we're going to talk with Eric Barber with Barberic Training, and he's going to help walk us through the different levels because we want to make sure that we're avoiding injuries, we're staying motivated, and we're doing what our body's meant to do. So, let's welcome Eric to the show where he talks about the levels of training for adults and also his take on levels of training for kids. So sit back, take some notes, share with your friends, and let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Meehan Mission podcast. And as you see, I have Eric Barber, our favorite online trainer. Hey, Eric.
Hi, how are you?
Great. So I brought Eric on today because I know a lot of us may be jumping back into training, but there's also some of you that you might already be advanced or you might be intermediate. And I just wanted Eric to help explain the differences in those levels because I know some people that are going back to the beginning, maybe they haven't worked out in a while. Maybe you're actually going to be a beginner, even though at one point in time, maybe 10 years ago, you were advanced. So, Eric, if you could help walk us through those differences and how, we can navigate our workout plans using those levels.
I love it. This is right up my alley. Great question. To me, in my brain, everything breaks down to beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then elite. Okay. I don't really pay attention with anything elite. I'm not training somebody to be a better swimmer or to be a better basketball player, that extra 10% that professionals need. That's not what 99% of personal trainers and all of us out there are doing. We're more geared towards helping people get fitter, stronger, faster, that kind of thing. So elite training needs to go to the specialists. So that leaves us with beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Mhm.
And I think at 56 years old, I think that anybody who has taken a long break from working out should be humble and put themselves right back at a beginner level, even if it's only for a month.
Mhm.
Because if a person builds consistency when the workouts are easy, right, and at a beginner level, they're going to want to keep going to the gym. And you want to leave the gym wanting just a little bit more, especially in the beginning. That's one of my secrets.
Mhm.
Um, every time I'll take a break from working out, let's say life happens and it's been 2 months since I worked out on a regular basis. And I know that if I try to go in and do what I normally do, I'm going to get busted up, right? So I need to be humble. And I don't necessarily take myself down to a beginner's level, but I definitely go from advanced down to intermediate.
Mhm.
So the intermediate person who has spent time in the gym, years in the gym, but they've had months or even years off, they need to go back to a beginner's level. Just be humble, even if it's just for 1 month. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about on this one. So um, if you do that and you make consistency the the main point rather than
Mhm.
intensity or anything like that, you're going to find yourself getting into the gym on the second month and the third month and the fourth, and then it becomes habit, and then you're back into your shape again or
Yeah.
better.
I know
Yeah.
for me, because I had to go back to beginner because it had
Right.
been years since I had
Yep.
worked out. And really, what you taught me was that consistency. Number one, I needed to kind of like reevaluate my daily
Right.
lifestyle and how I was going to fit in, going to the gym and doing all those things. But it was that consistency and, changing my schedule a little bit. And you're right. I worked out just enough that I wasn't so sore that I didn't
Right.
despise going to the gym.
That's right. That's
I
the
actually
secret.
wanted to go to the gym. It made a
Yeah.
huge, huge difference. I see
Yeah.
probably a lot of people fail in that area. If they wake up and they can't move, then they have
Yeah.
no motivation. They don't want to go to the gym.
I see that more often than not. I
Yeah.
see people go in there, hit it hard for a week or 2 or 3, and then they're just like, "Holy moly," and they just can't, you know what I mean? That's not the right way to go about it as we get into our
Yeah.
40s, 50s, 60s. When you're young,
Right.
who cares? You're bulletproof. You can
Yeah.
do, you know what I
You
mean? You
bounce
can,
right back.
yeah,
You
you
bounce
can
right back.
beat yourself up and bounce right back. But yeah, as we get older, we get more responsibilities. We've got, previous injuries that, you know what I mean? Whatever, medical conditions. You have to be smarter now, as you have to train smarter than ever before
Mhm.
as you get older. So
Yeah. And I would think in addition to a workout plan, you also have to make sure that you are eating better or cleaner. Make sure that you're sleeping so that your body can recover. I mean,
yeah,
there's so many things that you also need to do to incorporate just besides the exercise. So, that beginner level, it's really like it's a opening up a whole new world
yeah,
of workout, nutrition, and just healthy lifestyles, which I think is really important. I mean, and I think the better your start, the more likelihood you are going to move on to advanced
right.
and, you know, more difficult things and stuff like that.
That's what I try to do with my clients.
Mhm.
I try to give them a first month that is so easy to do that at about the 2 week mark, they're asking me. It happened just yesterday. I got a new client that was like, should I be doing more? And I'm like, nope, not yet.
Nope.
Trust me.
Yeah.
And this happens over and over and over again. So that by the time month number 2 comes around, I increase the volume, I increase the workouts, I increase everything across the board because at that time they've taken the time to build the right foundation or rebuild the right foundation. And when you
Right.
do it my way, we don't leave any stone unturned. I make sure that they train every single one of the major muscle groups in the human body.
Mhm.
Chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, quadriceps, hamstrings, calves, lower back, and abs. Other
And
things,
cardio.
yeah, and cardio.
And
So
cardio. Yeah.
what I'm looking for in that first month is for them to build consistency, not intensity. And we are actively looking for any weak points. And they pop up as soon as people start training with a well-rounded workout program. You're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that one body part is so weak." For most people, it's lower back. And anytime people start training their calves on purpose, their calves just
Mhm.
get smoked in the first week. But the calves are a very strong, dense muscle group, and they catch up really quick. They get strong really quick. But lower back is a big issue. Most people overtrain the front side, their abs,
Mhm.
completely neglect their lower back muscles. So if you think of it as links on a chain, they're super strengthening one part of the one link and just completely neglecting another. And when it comes to your core, that's not a good idea. So I
Yeah.
try to give a well-rounded, well-balanced approach to a person's first month, every month really, but just, yeah, I scale everything back. What you said about nutrition and sleep, totally true, but you kind of have to separate them. Each one is important in and of
Yes.
itself. Like you can go to the gym and you can do everything right. You can start slow, build up over time. The second month, increase everything by the third month. Now you're back in your groove. You are getting fit. You are getting strong. The human body will do that. But if you're eating like a clown, sorry, if you're eating,
No, that's okay because there are a
okay,
lot of
I
people
know.
that don't realize. So here's the deal. Let's talk this just
I'm
real quick.
I'm working on I grew up in the gym,
Yeah.
Kathy.
No, that's
Okay,
okay.
so
A lot of
that's what you get with me. You
people,
get a yeah. But if you eat,
it's the real deal. But a lot of people don't realize that the majority of stuff on the shelf at the grocery store is crap. I mean, it really is. It's got dyes and
yeah,
glyphosate and chemicals that you can't pronounce, and
yeah,
and that's very key for anybody starting out on a health journey to really just start reading the food labels.
yeah. That's a
It's
whole
yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
We
I
can
could
do it.
spend hours just talk. Yeah, if you want to talk about
We
that
can do
on a
another
podcast.
topic on that, but that's
Yep,
very important for people to get their
very,
nutrition
very
right.
important.
Yeah, yeah,
So going
very
back to my
important.
point, you can train and do everything right and still be eating completely off the rails, completely wrong.
Mhm.
You'll still get stronger and fitter. Thank God, right? Thank God that the human body will adapt to physical stimuli. but you could be doing so, so, so much better if you include a
Yeah.
nutrition approach, a nutrition plan. But to
Yeah.
but to keep it on the subject of beginner, intermediate, and advanced, we're talking just training programs only. You
Mhm.
know, when we get into nutrition, God, that's a whole. But you're right. I mean,
Yeah, it's
the
key.
American diet, the American way of life is set up to make us fail,
It
without a
is.
doubt.
Yeah,
And it's so
absolutely.
sad that we have to pay extra for healthy food,
Yeah.
for
It
healthy whole food. We're getting charged extra for organic and, grass fed and free range. It's just so sad that, we have to, food stamps are just good for foods that are chemical laden, addictive,
yeah.
so yeah,
Well, yeah,
we
and
can do a lot better.
they are changing that
Yeah.
statewide for what
Yeah.
is allowable with food stamps. I know in the state of Oklahoma,
Yeah.
for some of those places, they've removed food dyes, and so they're putting in some
That's
regulations to make them more healthy, which is good, and
a
that's what it's
massive
gonna take.
Yep.
That's what it's gonna take, but,
Massive leap forward. Yep. So
so
yeah,
let's
so that's oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, finish up that, and then let's move up to so we know what, like, beginner is, and then
Yeah.
when can I call myself advanced or,
So
what's
real
that?
quick, so on the subject, just to wrap a bow on that beginner idea, going to the gym and doing 3 sets on everything is plenty.
Mm,
So
mhm,
if you choose to do 3 sets of 12, I recommend doing like a half pyramid of like 3 sets of 15, 12, and 10. And you progressively add a little bit more weight. If I were to go to the gym as a beginner and just do 3 sets of 12 across the board, I would kind of get bored with that a little bit. I don't know if that's just me, but I like the idea of starting out with a warm weight or a light weight to kind of warm up and kind of wake the muscles up, wake up the tendons, the ligaments, add a little bit more weight, then add a little bit more weight on top of that. So 15, 12, 10 is just a beautiful rep range. Keep it simple, 3 sets of everything, hit one major muscle group or one major body part per workout,
mhm,
so if you're doing upper body, you would do like one for chest, one for your back, one for shoulders, one for biceps, one for triceps. You
mhm,
don't really have to worry about the forearms. They get a lot of work with all the gripping and that kind of thing. You can add it in, but it's a little bit more advanced. It's a little bit more intermediate, I think, when you start getting into that. So when you get into intermediate training, that's when you want to start bumping everything up to like 4 sets, you know, and increasing the volume that way, like a 15, 12, 10, 8. That heavy set of 8 is good for everyone, even elderly. You know, all kinds of research is coming out now that elderly people would do very well with strength training, even at
yes,
their age.
mhm,
And most of their issues are strength issues, like they can't stand up out of a chair. Yes, they have cancer. Yes, they have Alzheimer's. Yes, they have all these other different things going on, but strength wise, they're so weak.
mhm,
And they do studies on them and they're finding out, wow, these guys are really responding well to strength training. And it's like, yeah, man, it's the human body. We do well. God made us to push and to pull and to, you know what I mean?
right,
Like that is what the human body is meant to do. It's meant to work.
yeah,
I heard,
absolutely,
I heard Greg Glassman say one time that every single person is an athlete. And he got a lot of flack from that. A lot of people were like, "That's not true." Some sedentary, overweight person. He goes, "Anybody that moves their body is technically an athlete. If
yeah,
you lift your arms over your head, that is an athletic movement. And if you're overweight, if you're severely overweight, they're lifting a lot heavier of an arm than you are if you're 150 pounds, and they're
right,
350. So movement is what makes a person athletic. We should all kind of look at each other or look at people, look at everyone, consider ourselves athletes. Now, maybe we're very, very, very out of shape athletes. Maybe we're very in. And I just, when he said that, I was like, wow, that's very interesting. What an interesting approach that human movement is athleticism.
right, yeah, and that really should go to let everybody know that no matter what your body shape, size, your weight, or whatever it is, you have the potential to be leaner,
Right.
fitter, stronger. But it's part of that mindset that you've got to get through to you.
Right.
which, again, maybe making sure that when you're starting into any type of a nutrition or a health or fitness program, that you start easy, go low, go slow, so you don't get discouraged and give up.
Yeah.
And it also takes patience. Really, it takes so much patience to actually start seeing those results. I mean, you should see results in a few weeks, but you know, we want a pill
That,
for every
that's
ill nowadays.
that's another whole podcast right there. I
Mhm,
I swear, like we as a society, we want everything now.
mhm,
Everything. If we get
right,
hungry, it's just fast food. Like everything is designed for speed now,
mhm,
so that we can
right,
get more hours in our day and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, man, we are, and it's true. Like I need things to work fast too. I need a fast internet. You know, I need shorter trips to the grocery store rather than, I get it. Shorter trips to the gym. Like I want my gyms within a 12-minute drive. I don't want to drive 20 minutes to go to the gym. So you know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
get it, but at the same time, I don't know. I think we're losing.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna give everybody a challenge, and that challenge is and it's the benefit is that it's going to increase your patience. Um, Ditch your microwave. Because if you ditch your microwave, number 1, you are saving the nutrients in your food by not using the microwave. And then to warm things up, guess what you have to do? You either have to put it in the oven, you have to put it in a cast iron skillet, or you have to boil your water on top of the stove. So that's the challenge to build patience, increase your nutrition. You got to ditch your microwave.
So I'm on board with this whole microplastic thing.
Yeah.
I saw Paul Saladino. Paul Saladino is this, gosh, I guess he's a doctor who's just switched everything over to his whole platform is now nutrition. Okay, and he took a knife, like a kitchen knife, to one of these plastic cutting boards, and he started cutting
Oh, yeah.
like this right here,
Hmm.
and then he turned it on its side, and he had all the shavings
Mm,
fall onto a white piece of paper. And he goes,
yeah.
these microplastics will stay in your system forever. We can't
And cross
digest
the
them.
blood-brain barrier. There's people
Yeah.
that
And he
literally yeah,
goes, this is leading to autism. This is leading to all
yeah,
kinds of stuff.
yeah.
I don't know if it was autism,
Get
maybe it
rid of
was
your plastic
Alzheimer's.
cutting boards.
Yeah. So I switched over to cast iron
Mhm,
cookware. I threw out all of my plastic spatulas and I now use wood,
mhm.
that kind of thing. So I grew up on microwaves, microwaving everything, healthy foods, but still microwaves. But,
Yeah.
instinctively, now that I'm thinking about this plastic thing lately, I've been like, man, is that microwave safe? Like you start
Is the
questioning.
microwave safe?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying is I'm
no.
starting to
Yeah.
now I'm questioning everything that I used to call normal.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm a
yeah.
pretty
Welcome
healthy,
to the
fit guy,
tinfoil hat society,
Yeah. Yeah.
where everything that we have predicted or talked about is coming true. But yeah, the
Yeah.
microwaves, they are the EMF that comes off of a microwave, which I've got a couple of podcasts on EMF with some experts, but I remember when we got our microwave and I was little and we got the popcorn the bag would get bigger
Yeah.
and I would just sit there with my face in the microwave
Yeah.
watching that, for like 3.5, 4.5 minutes. Just, anyway, don't do it. Moms and dads, don't let your kids put their face in the
I
microwave.
I'd like to do some research on that. I didn't
Mhm.
know that.
Yeah,
Instinctively lately I've been knowing that it's true, but I haven't been part of
yeah,
that whole loop.
yeah.
I've got
So
all these
check out
other, yeah,
some of my episodes.
conspiracy.
The Meehan
Yeah.
Mission podcast, I actually have, I believe, 2 episodes on EMF with 2 different
Okay.
experts. So you can
All
find some
right.
information there. So, okay. So back to training,
Yep.
beginner and intermediate and
Yep.
advanced. I think we kind of skipped intermediate a little bit, but
Um, we briefed over intermediate, but we haven't
mhm,
gotten to advanced yet. So,
yeah.
just to wrap up intermediate training, I like to take people from strength training 3 times a week as a beginner to bumping it up to strength training 4 times a week in that second month.
Mhm,
A little bit more advanced, right?
yeah.
Scale back a little bit of the cardio and increase the strength training. A more muscular body burns more body fat than a less muscular body. So
Mhm,
if cardio for fat loss is 3 times a week. It's not going to be as effective, I don't think, from all my years of watching people do this, as effective as strength training to keep your body fat levels low because of the extra muscle that you put on. Now, there's an argument if you start giving up cardio, um, you're going to lose some of your fitness. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Cardio means heart, cardiovascular, cardiopulmonary. That's our heart muscle. Now, you can manipulate cardio to tap into your fat stores, or you can manipulate your cardio to tap into your heart training stores, which is fitness, right? So you want to be careful not to cut cardio completely out and just be, I meet a lot of meatheads and they're super strong. They can run through a house, they can run through a wall, but they wouldn't be able to go up a couple flights of stairs without gassing it, right? Like you've got to still do your cardio for the heart strengthening, the heart training, okay? But I also meet a lot of people on the flip side of that coin that are still married to that idea that you have to do a ton of cardio to burn body fat. That's not a great way. You can tackle your nutrition and do a way better job with the other 23 hours of your day with what you're putting in your mouth
Mm.
versus going from a 30-minute session on cardio to 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
cardio for fat loss should be like icing on the cake. Horrible. Yeah. It should be like it should be like a finisher idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But for beginners, it's great. I teach them how to put their heart in a fat burning zone. They do that 3 times a week. They do strength training 3 times a week. But for intermediate, I recommend having people bump up to 4 times a week of strength training
Okay.
with that extra fourth set. So 15, 12, 10, 8.
Mhm.
And at that point, by the second month, people are feeling great. I get these texts. I can show you texts on my phone right now from from Holly, who I think you know.
Yes.
And Holly lets me know whenever yeah, thank you for that recommendation. Holly's
You're
great.
very welcome.
Holly sends me texts of how happy she is after her workouts.
Great,
Like
great.
she's
Well, I
awesome, like,
mean, it
you know?
releases dopamine. I mean,
Yeah.
the yeah, the benefits of working out and, I'm just gonna go back to I mean, you literally have changed my life. I was so stressed out and I was eating clean, but I wasn't eating clean enough and I still had some things in my diet that I needed to get rid of and I was like I'm too busy to work out. I can't and then I have flipped that like you wouldn't believe and now I tell everybody I'm like you need to go to the gym. I'm like you got to go
Yeah.
to the gym. You have more energy
Yeah.
cognitively. Everything's brighter and it's just the amount of energy that I'll take. My negative thing is the fact that I have to buy all new jeans. And that is the big negative
I feel
problem.
so sorry for you, Kathy.
That is my negative problem. I know. It's like anyway, but other
That's
than
fine.
that, I can't recommend enough to people to just do it.
What
Just
a what a
start.
what a small price to pay. What a life hack that is. To
Yeah,
give up
yeah.
1 hour of your day
Mhm.
to feel like a completely different person 3 months later.
Right, right.
6 months
Yeah.
later, you're like,
Mhm.
"I can't believe I used to live like that used to be my norm,"
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I've been training for so long now, I don't know what it's like to be out of shape, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and I hope that I'm that same way
yeah,
because
when
I'm
people
like
tell me their
yeah.
stories, I try to understand, but I kinda don't. I really don't know what it's like. Now, I do because I listen to people's stories and I remember and
Mhm.
I take notes, so I do understand, but I don't personally know what it feels like to be super overweight or
Yeah.
super, on all kinds of meds and that kind of thing, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Right.
uh, what a small price to pay.
Yeah, it
Y
really is.
A
It really
couple
is. Yeah.
hours. There's 168 hours in a week, and if you give up 5 hours a week, 3 to 5 hours a week well, you gotta include drive time and
Right.
stuff like that, so 3 to 5, 3 to 7 hours a week out of 168.
Yeah, you can do
What
it.
a small price to pay to feel amazing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I live it. like everyone who knows me, anybody who's been a friend of mine for decades, like I'm not making this up. This is how I live my life. You know what I mean? This is my platform. I just preach health and fitness, you know?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
good. I mean, that's your
yeah.
purpose. That is your purpose, and you
When
live it, and so that's
yeah.
good.
When
You
we start getting up into advanced training,
Mhm,
okay? Um, I'm really paying attention to the client at that point, okay? They've done the boring stuff. They've done the hard work the first 2 months. Now we enter into the 3rd month. So I have a 12-week challenge, right? As you know. And the first 4 weeks, pretty simple, pretty easy. They're like, I didn't, is this it? Yeah. And the weight is falling off. And like, I don't understand how the weight is falling off. And I have all this energy and I don't even feel like I'm really doing anything. That's because we're purposefully building a strong platform, right? The 2nd month, we ramp everything up a little bit, and now they're kind of hitting their stride. Now they're a gym goer. They're not a gym rat. They're just a gym goer. They're working out.
yeah,
They're
so
close.
so what is a gym rat?
Yeah,
Real quickly, because I've seen that term, and
yeah.
I'm new enough to not know what is a gym rat.
It's a derogatory. Usually, it's a derogatory statement.
Okay,
Although I do hear people refer to themselves as gym rats. It's people who basically live at the gym.
okay,
Okay,
yeah. Okay,
I'm not
okay,
a
I recognize some of them up at the
yeah.
gym then.
I'm
Yeah.
I I've been at the gym since 1980, probably 1988. I have been a regular gym goer since 1988, okay? But I don't consider myself a gym rat. I go to the gym, I work out, and I get out.
Mhm. Yeah.
What bugs the crap, well, okay. A gym rat is somebody that I go in there at, let's say I want to work out at 5 in the morning, you
Mhm.
know, and I notice this guy come in at 6 o'clock and he's not really working out much. He'll do a couple of pump sets here and there.
Yeah.
And then, maybe the next day I go in at noon and the guy's in there and I'm like, huh, that's weird. Like he trained in the morning yesterday and now he's training at the same time as me around noon.
Yeah.
And then the next day I go in the gym, it's 5 o'clock and the Joker's in there as well. And
And he's
it's
still
like,
in there, yeah, yeah.
and you're like, dude, you're living at the gym. Like you literally walk around like it's social, like it's,
Yeah.
and that's what that term means is gym rat.
Okay.
These
I
guys that live there, they're not trained. Like even when I was a personal trainer, right? In the gyms, like working for a gym, and I was in there anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day, right?
Mhm.
I still wouldn't consider myself a gym rat. I would I would coach my clients. I would get my workout in. I'd go get something healthy to eat. I'd go back to coaching my clients, and then I'm out of the gym.
And then you're out, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So advanced training is if the person is doing things right, they're following it, they're getting the kind of results that we want. I check in that with them, and I'm like, hey, are you ready?
Mhm.
Are you ready to start hitting it hard now? And they're like, yeah, I'm ready. And that's when we bump everything up 5 sets. Um, we'll do 15, 12, 10, 8, and then maybe a burner set of 15 reps just to scorch the muscle before moving on to the next. Um, a lot of times, if it's a dude, instead of doing a burner set, maybe he has different goals 15, 12, 10, 8, and then a heavy set of 6. But I trust them with that heavy set of 6 because they put in the time. Their
Yeah.
joints, their tendons, everything, us older people, you can't just throw people into heavy sets like that. You've got to build up, and we've taken the time to build that platform.
Yeah.
So some of the guys like that heavy set of 6,
Yeah.
but most people aren't looking to get huge. They just want to get lean and fit, and
Yeah. I do
and
that
so
last set of 15 at a lighter weight and
yeah,
then just
yeah,
kind of
lighter weight, yeah, like a
yeah.
burnout set.
Mhm.
So um, after they've gone through that 3rd month, which I consider intermediate advanced, right? I then give my clients a chance to continue working with me for another 12 weeks, another 3 months. And those crazy enough to do that, I take them through what I consider, advanced training. So that's when
Mhm.
I'm introducing them to supersets and drop sets and, sets of 21s and things like that. Just way more advanced than what you see most people going to the gym and doing, you know? A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I do supersets," and then I watch them train, and I'm like, "That's not a superset. A superset is when you do a set, you take it to exhaustion, and then you immediately pick up a barbell or a dumbbell or a new cable, and you immediately move into the next exercise and start moving. Just
Mhm.
doing two exercises kind of back to back is not really a superset. There's no rest. You are smoking
Yeah.
at that point. And obviously it's much easier to do a chest and back superset because let's say you smoke your chest and then you immediately set that bar down or whatever and then move to a like a lat pull down or a
Mhm.
deadlift or a row with no rest, and now you're moving into your back muscles, which are fresh and strong. They've had rest.
Yeah.
But supersets where you're doing chest and chest or back and back with no rest, I mean, it's just brutal. So that's where I live. I love that kind of training.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
that's a little intense for me. I like to
yeah,
do the different muscle groups in my supersets. So
yeah,
I would do chest and then I would do back and then
yeah,
back to chest. But
yeah,
so anyway, I'm getting there. I'm
yeah.
getting there.
So
Hopefully.
advanced training is fun. It's not for everybody. Most people don't need that. Most people can live in that intermediate to little bit of play in the advanced. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think that's
Um,
where I live. I live there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's addictive like you wouldn't
yeah,
believe. And
yeah. Now,
it's addictive.
when you start getting really good at advanced, right? You're out of the beginner, you're out of the intermediate, and now you're literally in the best shape of your life. And then somebody challenges you, "Hey, we should do a 5K run." And you're like, "Oh, man, I haven't done that in forever." Or we should do a polar plunge, where you do a 5K run and then jump into a cold pool, you know what I mean, swim across it. Or let's do one of those survival races. What do you call them? Like
Like a
Spartan
mud
race.
run type
Yeah,
thing.
mud run and
So
Spartan
you say
races.
yes or no? Do those or do not do those?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying that when you're
Okay.
training, when you're in your best shape, even in your 40s, 50s, 60s,
Mhm.
your body is so used to these controlled beat down workouts that you can go do fun stuff like that and not get jacked up and not get hurt, not
Yeah.
blow out your knee and need a full knee replacement,
Yeah.
because you decided to start to bypass the beginning and the intermediate stage and jump right into something hardcore because a buddy of yours challenged you to it at work. Like, people, they can do the crazy awesome extreme things in their 40s, 50s, 50s. You just have to do it right.
Yeah, I do it.
You have to build that foundation and build up to it,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Like, I could enter an Olympic weightlifting competition next weekend if I wanted to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I still train in all these different ways. I could enter a powerlifting competition. Maybe I'm not going to lift a ton of weight
Mhm.
in either one of those events,
But you're prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, part of my training is once in a while I'll just challenge my body to go out to, we have this beautiful, it's called the Whitewater Center here in Charlotte. And man, it's just like oh man, I just love it out there. It's got trail running, mountain biking, whitewater rafting, of course,
Oh, nice.
rock climbing. It's got high element obstacle courses, low element where you don't need to be roped in. You can just be out there in the woods doing them by yourself. So I go out there and I challenge my 56-year-old body to being 30 feet up in the air doing these high element, things roped in, and you know what I mean? Or I'll do these low element things. I've got some videos on my Instagram of me doing that. Um, because hey, what if I ever do want to do a Spartan race someday?
Mm.
I don't want to be so out of shape from that kind of thing. So I don't know. I have fun. I don't know if you can tell, but I have fun with my fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? That is so important. Um, and you talk about like even going to the gym because I know that I'm very fortunate that at my gym my daughter's also a trainer. So
Yeah.
when I go to the gym, I get to see people that I know, and it's kind of like a gym rule that when you're there, you don't go there to talk. You go there to work out, and you might like talk briefly to people, but
Sure.
it's
Say hi
not
to
like
someone. Sure. Sure.
yeah, it's not a conversation place. You go, you work, you respect everybody's time, and then, you can hang out when you guys are all done working out. So that's really kind of how it goes.
You
So,
know, on that note, real quick,
mhm.
I've been in the gym business for a long time, and I will say that the gyms of the late 80s and early to mid 90s did have more of a meat market feel to them. They really did. There
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of, comparatively, there wasn't as many people going to gyms back then as there are now, right? Like
Yeah,
now, a
probably.
lot of
There's
people go
so
to
many
gyms. Yeah.
gyms. Mhm,
And
mhm,
gyms are always packed nowadays, whereas, back, so there was more of a meat market. We were outliers. We were different. We
mhm.
definitely looked different than the average, people in the public back then. But now health and fitness and looking good and people are, now it's much more common and you see a lot more people in the gym. So I don't pick up on the meat market vibe that I picked up on, that I noticed and was a
Yeah.
part back in the early 90s. I
Mhm,
see people with their headphones on and their hats down low,
mhm,
and a lot of times they're self-absorbed. Maybe they're filming themselves, or they might chat with somebody, or somebody will come up and try to talk to them. They'll take out their earbud and they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah." They'll be polite. They'll be nice.
mhm,
Put it back in. Most people nowadays stick to themselves in the gym,
mhm. Yeah.
and I
Well,
kind of like that.
yeah.
I walk into the gym. I never talk to anybody, and I'm a talker. Like I can talk. You know what I mean? I am a personable dude. But when I go to the gym, I don't from the time I walk in and the time I leave, I rarely say anything to anybody unless it's like, "Hey, how many more sets do you have? Do you mind if I work them with you?" or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think I'm a social butterfly at the gym, but I respect people's
Well,
time,
of
so I don't
course. Yeah.
take up their time anyway. Hey, let's talk real quick. I want to focus on kids. And because kids, they also have beginning, intermediate, and advanced. And I just think maybe if you could stress to the importance of the parents to monitor that so that they don't get injuries or burnouts. Just a quick, what's your take on that?
Oh, yeah. So we talked a little bit about this on our last podcast, and I have
Mhm,
to be very careful when I talk
mhm.
about this because I can really offend some parents.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
And I
yeah,
don't
what
mean
what
to.
did
I
you
don't mean to.
do? How about
This
that?
is
Yeah.
this is to me, this is common sense and this is wisdom. And for those
Mhm,
that want to hear it, they'll hear it. And
mhm,
other people will just blow me off, and that's fine. I don't want to step into people's parenting decisions and that kind of thing. But I believe when it comes to kids, that training should be fun. And when they're young, everything needs to be built on fun, not on competition. And I see a lot of parents that want their kid to succeed so bad and they want them to be this awesome baseball player or whatever. And from a very young age, they're taught to compete hard.
yeah,
I personally don't agree with that. I think sports should be, I don't really think kids should be working out
mhm.
with weights and that kind of thing when they're young. You know what I mean? They should
Yeah,
be in
you're right.
sports.
No, I mean,
They
I
should
agree
be
there. Yeah.
getting knocked down and stand back up, beat
Mhm,
down, get back up, win here, lose there. Like just it's all part of life and it needs to
mhm.
be embraced. And when you've got a kid that has been trying his best and he fails, that's a good coaching opportunity. That's a good parenting
I
opportunity right there. You
mhm,
pull them onto your lap and you hold them and you kiss them and you say, "Hey, I'm proud of you. But daddy, I lost. It's okay. It's okay. What did we learn from that?" And you teach that kid how to get back up and fight again. You know what I mean? As they get older, right, into so out of I guess that would be what the early years, kindergarten through fourth grade ish, I guess.
yeah,
After that, they get into fifth grade on up into
like middle school.
yeah, middle school. Thank you.
Mhm,
Um, that's when the parents can be like, really investing in that kid and teaching them and coaching them and encouraging them to be better at this sport.
mhm.
Okay, absolutely. When you get into high school, things are going to get a little crazy, right?
Yeah,
We got coaches now. They want to win. They want to. That's different. That's all. But I do think it should be like a beginning, intermediate, and
mhm.
advanced.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
when I see parents, oh, here we go. When I see parents losing their cool at
Oh,
kids' games
yeah.
because the parent wants the kid to win more than I don't know. I think that we should cheer our kids on. I don't
Yes,
think that we should start fights in the stadium or with
I
the coach,
agree.
and I think that's taking sports too far.
Mhm.
Okay? Every once in a while you get a gifted kid, a truly gifted kid that has a chance at becoming a pro at something, right?
Yes.
That one percenter, right?
Mhm.
Every once in a while you've been gifted with that kid. And that's where you get into elite training. And now you're paying for elite training. And that's
Mm.
totally different. And that's where I step out. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that level other than what I watched my daughter go through. My daughter was a ballerina her whole life. And when she turned 18, she got accepted to the Russian Bolshoi Academy, which was
Wow.
a pretty prestigious, like she was training to be a Russian dancer. She
I can't imagine. Wow.
Yeah, she was tall and muscular and didn't really fit into the traditional English ballet of the petite ballerinas, but the Russians looked at her, and there was a dance school in Miami as well, if I remember correctly, that looked at her and they were like, "That's exactly what we want." And I remember Sophia was going back and forth between choosing the Miami school versus the Russian Bolshoi Academy, and I think the Russians pushed a little bit harder to have her and really wanted her, and I mean, so once she got into that professional field, that's when the sport takes on a different, you know,
Yeah.
it's not as fun at that point anymore. And somebody has to
It's
really
more like a
want it
business
for
almost.
themselves. Yeah. They have,
Yeah.
the athlete has to really want that
Yeah.
for themselves. Cause now you're seeing the professional side of the sport. And that's
Yeah.
totally different than the grade school, middle school, high school
Yeah.
experience, even college experience. Like pro level is, yeah,
That's a whole 'nother level.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
So
you're right. I
I
mean,
think,
such a
yeah,
small percentage of children actually grow up and get into that one, so,
yeah. I'm very
yeah.
much into kids being athletic and
Mm.
strong and healthy, eating healthy foods. And in sports, my son, I think mentioned it on my last podcast. He never took to one sport, and I was like, "That's fine. So
Mhm.
you're just going to do all sports, you know?
Nothing wrong with
And
that.
you
Yeah.
don't have to be the best. You don't have, but you do have to get in there. We homeschooled our kids, and I didn't want, I didn't want,
You didn't want weird kids?
I didn't want a weirdo,
But,
So I
I'm just
got him
saying that
into
lightly
every
'cause
sport. And to this day, my son can pick up anything. It doesn't matter whether it's ping pong or golf or tennis or wrestling or jujitsu. That kid, he's had so many different coaches across so many different sports
Mhm.
that my sister or my daughter shines because of what she went through. That hardcore ballet background, 12
Mhm.
years of it, 15 years, something like that. My son shines because of his exposure to all these different sports and all these different coaches. So
Yeah.
it's just fascinating to sit back and watch my kids as young adults, and
Mhm.
it's just I love it. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that my way of raising kids was the only way. I just know that it really worked. I made fitness fun. I didn't put
Mhm.
a lot of pressure on them other than you need to go to your sport. You need to show up early for practice and be one of the last ones out. You need to
Mm.
respect your coaches, whether they're a coach you like or a coach you don't like. And I just tried to make fitness fun. I
Right.
praised them
Yeah.
for their wins and I consoled them in their losses. And it was okay. They turned out great.
Yeah. I did encourage my children to all have some sort of extracurricular activity, and it always involved soccer or, softball or wrestling or football. It always involved a sport. So, which, it just those life lessons that our kids learn by being coachable
Yeah,
and just
exactly.
the exposure to different ways that different adults approach things are so great. But I appreciate that insight on kids and athleticism too. And
This was
so,
a
Coach,
great podcast. I like this one
yeah,
a lot. This was great. Yeah.
good. Well, thank you so much, Coach Eric. And if people want to find you, where do we find you?
www.barberictraining.com, and it's
Okay.
barbaric. It's Eric Barber backwards, so it is a misspelling. Barberic training. On there, I've got a link to my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube page. And maybe one day
Great.
I'll have my own podcast. We'll see. I don't know if people
Yeah.
like hearing me talk or not, but I enjoy this kind of stuff. I can talk. I can talk fitness all day, all night long. It's all I've
Well,
known for 35 years, 40 years. So yeah, I love it. Thank you for having me on here. I really enjoy it.
you bet. Well, we're going to keep picking your brain and you're going to be on again next month. And
Great.
so everybody will see Coach Eric again. And until then, to all of our listeners in our community, I just wish you the best. And I pray that you find the motivation to get out there, work out, focus on nutrition, and focus on health because I just want to say you're never too old and it's never too late to start. And without help, it's really difficult to do anything else. So, peace to everybody. Share this episode where you can, like us, and have a blessed day. Thanks so much.